Hey, what is up, guys? I'm Jen Burson. I'm the founder of Generation PR and the creator of the Profitable PR Pros Facebook group. Hi, Elaine, over here on Instagram. I'm trying the kind of two platform thing right now. So I have, let's see, I have my Instagram up over here. I've got my notes over here. There's a lot going on. And the other crazy thing is I have my broadcast software set up here, and then I went to go kind of take a shower, get all ready, and I come back and my computer's off. So something happened and my computer completely shut down. And I've been spending the last 15 minutes trying to get it back up and loaded because I have my notes and the broadcast software and everything. So literally, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to go live? And then literally 1 second ago, like probably 1 minute ago, the computer popped back on. So I was like, my heart was pounding because I was like, am I going to be able to go live? So, hello. I am excited today because I love the topic of quitting your job, throwing in the towel, if that's how you want to look at it, but just completely doing a total 180 or having the courage to say that you're moving on to do something different. And I love this topic so much because that's exactly what I did in my career. And I'm doing a lot of reflection right now because recently I was on the Former Lawyer podcast talking about my kind of 180 in my career and how I started as an attorney. I left and I started a PR agency completely out of thin air with zero contacts, zero experience, just was like, this is what I'm interested in doing. This is what I want to do with my career. So one of the things that Sarah, the founder or the host of the Former Lawyer podcast, and I discussed was that, when you leave a career that you work really hard to get to, like practicing law, right? There's a big monetary and time investment. You've got 4 years of undergrad. You have 3 years of law school. It's a rigorous, grueling environment. Then you take the bar, which is a really, really challenging, emotionally draining, like a total mental game exam, 3-day exam. The pass rate is below 50%. And you have to go through all that, and then you get there. Then you work really hard to get one of these, like, whatever job you want. But I was in a corporate job or a big law firm, and all of that was pretty hard to get to, right? It was a huge investment, a huge time, financial, emotional investment. That's practically 8 years of your life, right? And you're there, and for me, the biggest challenge in leaving the job was this kind of feeling of shame. It was like somehow I couldn't hack it in law. And it's a lot easier and a lot more prestigious to say, well, I'm a lawyer. Like somehow there's this automatic understanding that if you're a lawyer, that you're successful or you've made it, right? Like somebody's definition of success is if you're an attorney and you're making 6 figures, you're working for a big law firm, then you're successful. And it's just a shorthand way of being like, I did all these things and here I am and I'm successful in my career. People get it. And if you leave, then for me, it was the biggest hurdle of feeling like I was disappointing my parents, feeling like I wasn't good enough or I couldn't hack it, I couldn't make it work, that I didn't have what it takes to be successful in the legal field, which meant there was something wrong with me. And that was really hard. And also the feeling or the challenge of, being in your 20s and not wanting to disappoint your parents, letting your parents have this opportunity to feel really good about their child doing something really great and prestigious and all of that. I really that mattered to me. And I wanted to have my parents be able to say, my daughter's a lawyer, like it meant something to them. And it felt really good that I could give my parents that, ability, because it makes them look good and feel good too. At least that's what I thought, right? That they could brag about, their daughter being a lawyer. But what happened to me at 27 after 4 years of practicing law is that I had this major light bulb realization that my life was my own, right? My life happens for me. It doesn't happen to me. And this was such an empowering shift for me, realizing that this is my one life, that I could have out of it whatever I wanted, but I couldn't just expect those things to come my way. I had to be proactive and make it happen. And I've mentioned many, many times about how I took a look around and saw in my law firm that there were no women that had the kind of life that I was looking to have. Like, they weren't present, checked in parents, at least given the hours that they worked, it wasn't the kind of career life. Integration is the new word. I know we're like moving away from the word balance and it's more like integration now, but the kind of writing on the wall for me was that if I went down this path and pursued it much longer, I would hopefully, like, the goal is that you make partner. But I didn't like what I saw in the women that I could look to as role models who had made partner, right? So I was like, this is my life. This is my one life. And I may not know what's waiting for me on the other side, but I knew that if I didn't take the leap, that I would be on a path that I didn't like. I'd be on like a collision course for unhappiness for my life. And like I said, I didn't know what was waiting for me on the other side of the leap, but I did. And I just took the jump. And I'm so glad I did. It was one of the best decisions of my whole life, like absolutely positively. And so, here I am. March in 2020 is going to be 15 years of running my agency. And if you guys just joined, if you see me like looking back and forth, I'm on Instagram right here and I'm on Facebook right here. And I just wanted to test out Insta Live and see what happened here. But so hi Instagram, say hi, and hi Facebook people. So I just honestly, I feel so incredibly lucky. 15 years into my business, I still love it so much. I wake up every day and I'm just so happy to have this career. And because it has allowed me to have this work-life integration, this is like the new hot term, integration, but balance, a similar sort of balance of what I was looking for out of my life, I really want to share that with everybody else. Oh, thanks, Facebook. I really want to share that with as many people as I can, because I just feel like the agency model is such an amazing way to run your business or to structure a career that will give you the flexibility and freedom and revenue and all of the things that you're looking for if you want to be able to have a really profitable business that, this sort of thing looks interesting to you and lights you up, then this is like a really great model for that. Thanks for the thumbs up. Let me know who's here because I can see, but you have to leave it in the comments because I'm logged in as a page, so I can't see you personally, but I can see comments. You just have to tell me who's there. Or I can check later and say hi to you. But I'm so happy that you're here because this is such a topic. This topic is such an important one that really, I think, should feel empowering. It should not feel scary. And, there's a couple scenarios here. Like, I know that we promoted this as leave your job. You could be at an agency and be thinking about leaving and starting your own. And I know there's several women in my program that I mentor who are in that situation now, and they're learning the structure and strategy so they can make the leap and go out on their own. Or you could be at a 9-to-5 or whatever my case was, 8 to 7 p.m. job, like I was, in a completely different career, right? As an attorney, totally unrelated to PR. And you could be on the fence about leaving your job and making a career shift or leaving an agency to start your own. But I want you to keep in mind, you should not have to be miserable or suffer in your career. That is not part of the job. Misery, suffering, struggling is not part of the job description. That's what I thought. I thought that my career was just to earn a living and that it didn't have to also be gratifying and fulfilling, that I could get satisfaction in other areas of my life. But, and I kind of thought that career fulfillment was kind of for other people, that just making the money or being able to say you were a successful lawyer being in a prestigious career was the gratification, not the actual work itself. Does that make sense? Isn't that so crazy? Isn't that kind of insane that you should just feel that, this is just what it is to work. Like a grinding, soul sucking existence is just what it is. And it's just what you have to do to make money. But it wasn't necessarily gratifying on its own. But that couldn't be further from the truth. And what I realize now, owning my own business, is that there's more of a state of flow and more passion towards the work that I'm doing now. And because I'm in that state of flow and I'm putting out this work and this energy that I'm so passionate about, that I'm in a state where I'm attracting more money into my business. Okay. I just want you to check into this for a minute, because money is energy. All of this is energy that you're attracting into your business. And if you are in this flow state where you're loving what you're doing, where you feel lit up, then you are in more of a frequency, like a transmission tower, right? You're just being positive, you're loving what you're doing, and people are drawn to that. Clients are drawn to that. So the more that I love what I do and the more in a flow state that I get in my business, it's like the less I do, the more I make, right? So this is something that kind of has evolved as I've shifted my career. But if you're looking to make a career shift, I want you to pay attention to the feelings you have of why. Why do you want to leave and make a shift? Okay. What is it about your current scenario, your current situation, that is leaving you feeling like you're not totally fulfilled? Or like maybe you love it and you want more of the same, but you want it for yourself. So you could be at a PR agency, you could love the work you're doing for someone else, but see the potential of doing it for yourself and running your own business. So what I want to give you are these steps that I recommend as you're considering making a career transition or leaving your 9-to-5 and starting your own thing. Okay. The first thing I want you to think about is finding someone that could mentor you. So whether they are known as your mentor, like they're aware that they're your mentor, or if it's somebody that, like a Rachel Hollis or Amy Porterfield, that may not necessarily know you, or Tony Robbins or somebody like that, that can still serve as your mentor. They put out content, they have podcasts, and they have programs and courses. Somebody like me, I serve as a mentor to people who invest in my programs and also who don't, who just follow my Facebook Lives and check into the content that I put out on Facebook and Instagram. And they're inspired by the transition that I've made in my career and what I've been able to build in my business. And what they see is what is possible for them. Somebody that is doing what you are looking to do. They have the kind of career that interests you, that sparks curiosity and excitement in you, that you can see yourself doing. That person can serve as a mentor to you, right? So if you know them, if you have a connection to them, it could be somebody in your network, a family member, a friend. That's how I made my transition. I was really inspired by what I saw, a family connection, like somebody that was married into my family. She was amazing. She is amazing. And she had such a cool career that I was like, whatever she's up to, it looks super fun and awesome. And I want to know more about it. This is while I was still an attorney, but I was really drawn to what looked to be like a really interesting and exciting life that she lived. And she was a publicist. I didn't even know what that was, but I started asking her what went into it. Right? So you can ask what's involved in their business or their career. What are they up to based on their online presence? So keep in mind too, that if you're watching somebody online, even if you're watching me online, that what you're seeing is kind of a curated format. It might not be like all the nitty gritty of what they're actually doing behind the scenes. But for somebody that you can have access to, find someone who has a career and a life that looks similar to the vision that you have for yourself. So you can kind of see that it's a roadmap for what's possible for you. Gianni is saying, Jen, you have been such a great mentor to me. Can't thank you enough for what you've done for me to shift my thought process and how to execute great work. Thank you, Gianni, so much. I really appreciate that. And I've been we've been engaging a lot, and I've been following along with what you're up to too on both Facebook and Instagram. And it's like you don't even need to invest in somebody who's passionately putting their work out there because they want to inspire people. So you can be guided by people who have a business, a life, something about what they're up to is really appealing to you. That can serve as a roadmap and a shortcut. Okay, having a mentor that's done it, invest in their programs, invest in their coaching, because they're going to give you a fast track to success. Or follow along on their free content, read their books, be inspired by what they're up to and their tips and strategies. They may not even know you, they can still serve as a mentor. Okay, so that's number one. Find a mentor and figure out what they've done and how you can do it for yourself. And number two is, if you're going to take the leap and make a career change or start your own business, I don't want to ruffle feathers. I want to have this be more inspiring than anything, but I really believe in leap and the net will appear. Okay. And by that, I mean, you don't need to have everything 100% figured out. The risk with that is that if you sit there until you have everything perfectly figured out, you'll be stuck in neutral. You'll be stuck in perfection paralysis. I'm sure you've heard of that term. And you will be stuck in inaction. And I don't want you to be stuck waiting until everything is completely perfect and lined up. But I do want you to have a plan. So sometimes it doesn't have to be fully hatched, but at least an idea of where your first clients are coming from, or what you're offering to them, or who you could reach out to in your network to start to drum up business, tell them what you're up to, get them behind you and what you're doing so that you have some momentum, right? You want to also give yourself enough runway. So I recommend at least 6 months. So this is a runway of savings so that you give yourself enough time so that you don't panic. So you're in this period of time and you're like, oh my God, it's not happening as fast as I wanted. You're freaking out. So you don't panic during this period where you're just getting this dream off the ground. Okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly, completely baked, fully cooked plan. You don't need to have everything perfect, like a website and a brand identity and logo and all of that stuff. Just figure out where your revenue is going to come from. What are you offering to people? How are they going to pay you? How are you making money? What's the way that you're making money? And I promise you, you can make money. You can start to generate business without business cards, brand identity, a website. I started and locked down my first several clients before I even had a website. I did not have a website in my business until probably a year and a half. I had nothing to put on the website. What was I going to put on there? I don't know. I was just like, I had to start to generate some clients, case studies, results, something. So I figured out what I had to offer people. How are they going to pay me? What service was I going to provide to actually earn revenue? That is the most important thing. So have an idea of what you're transitioning into and what the very next step is. Okay. Things are going to evolve. Things are going to change. Be okay with it. And keep in mind that if you think everything is going to be perfect and going to evolve exactly the way that you planned, it's not going to work that way. And you're also going to be stuck in inaction. It's hard for me to say stuck in inaction for a long time. And I don't want that for you. I know that momentum brings clarity. Momentum brings action, revenue, clients, all of that. So just leap and the net will appear, but do have somewhat of a plan for how you're going to generate clients and generate income. Okay. So the other thing that I want you to really think about, this is really important, seems so obvious and so simple, but I want you to build a business that you're going to love. Okay. So what you have to think about is, what do you want your business and your life to look like? This is kind of a mix of the two. So a lot of people aren't really viewing the career and the business in a way that really serves the type of life that they want to have. What's important to you? How do you want to spend your time? Who do you want to spend your time with? It's I see a lot of people that are going through my programs or women that I coach that are buried and they're really struggling to keep their head above water. They don't love their businesses. They don't love the business that they've developed. It's not serving them in their lives. They feel really guilty because they're so drowning in the work they're doing and they're not making good revenue. They're not really setting boundaries. They're not being able to spend time with their children. The priorities are off, or they've gone so far down a path with the kind of business that isn't built in a way to serve the kind of life that they want to have. Okay. So I want you to look at these two things independently. Not everything has to be totally like intermeshed and mushed together. But if you don't set a vision for your business, then it could be something that really creeps into your after hours, your nights and weekends, when you should be spending time for yourself, spending time with your family, right? If you set up a business, and we always think like PR and social media, when the client says jump, we have to say how high. If they reach out on a weekend, we have to respond to them right away. That's not going to be the kind of long-term life that you're going to enjoy. So if you want to be on call 24 hours a day and you don't mind that, then allow that to be the way you set up your business. But you have to get clear about what your goals are and what your terms are. So what's your vision for your business that will support the life that you want to have? And if you don't set that vision, your business is going to start to creep into every nook and cranny of your life. And I say nook and cranny, and every time I say that, I think of Thomas's English Muffins because it's like that commercial. I don't know if they still use that in their marketing, but all the nooks and crannies in Thomas's English Muffins. But if you don't set that vision, your business is going to creep into your personal life, and it's all going to blend, and you're not going to have this business personal interbalance, or whatever the new word is that we're saying. Integration, that's like the hot new word. You're going to see it everywhere in 2020. We're going to not talk about business work-life balance. We're going to talk about work-life integration. You know what I'm saying. You want everything to serve the kind of life that you want to have, and you want to then stick to it and be true to it. And if something comes in and it starts to compromise your overall vision, you have to have a clear litmus test and say, this doesn't really align with the kind of business that I want to have. And that could be work, leads coming your way that are, it's money. And you're like, well, I really want money and I need clients. But if that work doesn't light you up, or you don't believe in that kind of client, or you don't think the client is really cool or interesting, then that doesn't serve the kind of business that you want to have, right? So the other thing you have to think about too is, do you want to be able to work remotely? Do you want to travel? Do you want to be home when your kids get home from school? For me, that is incredibly important. That is kind of a non-negotiable. I mean, obviously there's days that I'm not here, or if I have to travel for work or whatever, but I'm here. My kids, all they've ever known, they're 9, almost 10 and almost 8. They're 9 and 7. They have only known that when they get home from school, probably 9 times out of 10, mommy is going to be home and waiting for them and ask them how their day is. And then I go back into my office, and that's what they know, because that's important to me, right? So it's not that my day ends at 3 when they get home, but they see me. And they also see a good example of their mom, running a business that she loves, feeling happy every day in her career. I inspired my husband to leave his corporate job and start his own company, and he's happier than ever. And I say that kind of semi-ironically because he's been really stressed out in one of his client deals, and he's been pacing the house all hours of the night. But he loves what he does. And the reason he's up is because he's worried, because he cares so much. And he's just like, I never would have done it if it wasn't for you, showing me that this was possible. So I love that example that our children are getting to see, that mommy and daddy are pursuing their dreams and doing what they love and feeling fulfilled in their careers, and not seeing that your work has to be something that you suffer through, that the more money you make, the more you have to suffer in order to be successful. That is no model that I want to set, no example I want to set for my children. So that's important to me, right? Another thing is like, I really want to be available to my children for library duty, or to my best friend texts me on a Friday because she doesn't work on Fridays. She's an attorney, but she has flexible schedule. She will say, let's go for a hike. And I'll be like, cool, let's do it. Or let's go, have lunch and kind of hang out or whatever. Sometimes my husband will text me in the middle of the day and say, hey, do you want to go see a movie with me? Usually he's asking me to go for a hike, and it's my friend that wants to go get a manicure or something like that. But half the time I'll be like, no, I can't because I'm working. And then I catch myself and I say, why can't I? Of course I can. That's why I did this. So I have that flexibility. And that's what I want for you too. And that comes with being intentional about how you want your business, your career to serve the kind of life that you want to have. And you can set up your business in this way so that you have the flexibility, freedom, control over your schedule. This is just what happens when you have, like, going back to number one, a mentor who can show you how to do it. So I just love this topic because I feel like that decision to leave my career in law and overcome the kind of shame I had about being perceived as not cutting it, right? I couldn't hack it in law. You know what? Most of the people I went to law school with, and I went to a top tier law school with people that went to Harvard, Yale, Stanford, other Ivy League schools, Berkeley, they are mostly not practicing, right? And whether they feel guilty that they couldn't hack it or not, it doesn't matter. That's not a great life. It's like most people I know that still practice law are kind of miserable. Or they found other ways. Like, I have a friend who's a district attorney, and she works in the very prestigious arson division. Sounds crazy, but so there are other ways that they figured it out. But corporate law and working for a large firm, it really sucks. It was not the kind of life that I wanted to have. So I overcame that feeling of disappointing others, disappointing my parents, and realized this is my life. This is your one life. You should feel lit up, inspired, passionate, driven, enjoy your work every single day. And if your current position doesn't give you that feeling, then you should rethink how you're spending your time, because your career should not make you feel like you have to suffer or pay your dues in order to be successful. And like I said before, the more in a flow state I am, and the more I love what I do and I'm extremely passionate about what I do, the more that my dream clients are drawn to me. So that's the less I do, the more I make, positioning. So I hope that helps you. Give yourself 6 months runway to make it happen so you don't panic and jump back in and try to find a job, and figure out how you're going to make money. What service are you going to offer? Who are you going to serve? And how are you going to serve them? And take the leap, and then it will appear. That's what I have for you today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and tuning in on Instagram, by Facebook, by Instagram. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.